Welcome to The Climb. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. As a matter of fact, that's literally what The Climb means. It's an acronym that stands for creating C, leverage, L, N, I, the music, M, business, B, The Climb. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Brent Baxter. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And he also helps songwriters like you turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. You can find Brent at manvsrow.com, manvsrow.com if you're old school, if you've been around for a while. And if you're new, then go check him out at songwritingpro.com. We had a recent rebranding, and we don't want to alienate anybody. We want to make sure they all know.
No listener left behind. That's right.
That's right.
And which I stole that from my buddies over at Full Circle Music Show, which is a good podcast you should check out too. Seth Mosley, he's a good dude. But also, I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. They help you find your sound, and they help you find your audience. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating that all-important cash flow. Nice. Johnny was in a hair band. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. And as you can tell, we are having a good time. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. That's right.
That's right.
Man. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to, hey, you know what? Let's just cut the chit-chat, all right?
Yeah.
And we'll get to the last 5 of 10 reasons why you should not give up. Because you know why? There are probably some people out there that are feeling like giving up. Maybe even you are listening right now, and you're like, you just had something fall through. A show didn't happen, or a show happened, but no audience did. You know, we all have struggles. So you hit us.
Your mom's voice or your dad's voice is coming through, and you're like, maybe I should be a lawyer.
You should have gone to school, and you should have done this, and you should.
Oh, yeah, you suck. Right. You're no good. You're no good. That's bollocks.
So last time we were together, you talked about the first 5 of 10 reasons why you should not give up. So tonight we're going to talk about the other 5, and hopefully, give you, the listener, a shot in the arm, some momentum, some motivation.
Yeah. And by the way, on this, before we get started here, just, man, if you dig the information in this podcast, please share it. Mm-hmm. Let everybody else know about it in your social circles. And because if you think it'll help somebody else, we'd love to reach out to them as well. And make sure you leave a rating and review on iTunes. That helps us really, it helps solidify the core, the content of what's going on. Other people at first glance will see that we got something going on here. So We'd appreciate a rating and a review. It takes you 3 seconds.
And you know what? It gives us the warm fuzzies. I'm not going to lie.
That's right. Makes me feel good.
Seeing those
so let's
stars.
do a quick review. The first 5 reasons not to give up. It's all about talent again, man. The new music business is all about talent. So whatever it is, if you're good at singing, if you're good at writing, if you're good at playing, if you can emote, if you're funny, if you've got a huge personality, bring it out. It's going to work. Pressure equals creation. Allow yourself to be put under pressure. Mm-hmm. If you're feeling pressure now, channel that pressure towards creating. It's going to help you. There's, we were talking about Rick Rubin that famously has used pressure as a psychological tool to get his artists to write his songs. Mm-hmm. Failure, you need it. So don't be afraid of it.
It's part of the process.
Too many people are afraid of what am I going to look like?
Right.
Let me give you the music business is just like life. It's not a question of if you're going to get knocked off your horse. You're definitely going to get knocked off your horse.
That's right.
Repeatedly, over and over and over again. The trick is if you've got the guts to get back up again on the horse. The 4th is the pursuit. I mean, life happens while you're working your way towards that goal, and you got to enjoy the struggle. You got to enjoy the journey, man. You really do. And then number 5 was the last point we had in the last podcast, which you're stronger than you think. You're strong. You have the capability to understand your career's full of challenges. 1, 10, 1,000 setbacks aren't gonna be enough to stop you. You've got to keep going. I remember on that, Mike Myers being on the Inside the Actors Studio. You ever see that show?
Yeah, I've seen. I haven't seen that episode though.
He was great, and I can't remember who host's name was, but Lipton. James Lipton. Oh, good. Yes. James Lipton asked him, what's your secret? He's like, here's my secret. I stuck around longer than everybody else.
Yeah.
Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
Genius. And that's straight up honesty right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because let's be honest, I'm not a genius. I can go from some super smart joke to drinking poop in my movies, and it works.
Right,
I'm not a genius. I just stuck around longer than everybody else and wanted to do it more than everybody else. There you go. And which leads us really conveniently into number 6, which is if you give up on yourself, everyone else will too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all successful people have had to overcome incredible odds, incredible struggles to get where they are. Mm-hmm. And guess what? A ton of them overcame struggles in their childhood, and growing up, and huge accidents and abuse, physical, mental, sexual, everything. And then they've had failure and poverty and all these things, but they get past that because they believe that they can, and they work. Believing's not enough. Remember,
That's
believing
right.
in something isn't work, but it's necessary. But it's not the only thing. You just aren't aware of their backstory. Prosperous people deeply understand that success is literally a mindset, and they surround themselves with positive, like-minded people. And here's the point that I want to make: if you're giving up on yourself, if you're negative, and you talked about this in a couple podcasts ago, Brent, on don't be negative energy in a writing session, right? Because people don't want to be around it. But when you really start to succeed and you really start to get your mind, your body, and your soul together, and your blessings start to happen because you're working, and it really does happen, you start to manifest abundance in your artist career. You get around people, you start to attract people like that. Mm-hmm. And do you know what kryptonite is for those people? Negative energy.
All right, yeah.
Because they've had to overcome so much. Like, you just don't know their backstory.
Right.
But they've had to overcome struggles, fears, doubt, their parents, their crappy childhood, poverty, all that stuff, health issues they got that they struggle with every day. Mm-hmm. They've had to overcome all that. So they look at anybody that's got a quitter mentality or anybody with a negative energy as like a social disease. Mm-hmm. And it's a trigger. Like, if you're around them and you're the person with a negative energy, you're going to get a negative response from them. They don't need to know who you are, what you do, or how good your songs are. They just don't want to be around you.
Right. And plus, if you have that negative attitude, I'm thinking you're probably going to quit. So how much do I want to invest in you with my time, right? Because you're like, oh, it sounds like a quitter. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not, and it's not attractive, right? So what's the good in that? And when you project negativity or quitting vibe, it literally pisses successful people off. It has the opposite reaction. It's just like, you're like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Right. You're not going to get sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes people try to pull that sympathy vote. Like, like, I'm blind in one eye, I can't see out of the other by my song. Like, no. Yeah. And the reason that it pisses them off, and this is important that you understand this, is because it scares the crap out of them. Because they were there.
Yeah.
At one moment, they were there being the negative person inside their own head. And they did an incredible amount of work on themselves to switch that around. And now they've come out the other side, and it scares the crap out of them to go backwards. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand that if you're being the negative person, they successful people know that failure is just one negative thought away.
Yeah, because even the successful people, they're still having to work and struggle, even being successful. So if that negative attitude starts, leeching onto them, it's going to hurt them.
They don't want to be around it, man.
Right.
Yeah. So don't give up. Don't give up. Number 7. There is no such thing as an overnight success.
Amen. I mean, it's you see the TV shows. Well, I mean, that was a couple nights anyway. Overnight success, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So and so comes out with their first single and it's a hit. Overnight success. No, it's not.
No. Casey Musgraves, right? She's not huge. she's having her challenges getting on country radio and everything. She's genius.
Yeah, she's great.
You know? She's fantastic.
She's successful.
Been doing it for 10 years already.
Yeah.
Little kid, she started out doing this. You don't know about that, do you? Oh,
no.
What? You know, Van Halen passed by every record label twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they tried to oust David out of the band.
Yeah.
But here's a side value bomb. Ted Templeman, who was the VP or the president of Warner Brothers and also their producer, initially wanted to put another singer in the band. Guess who that was?
Who was that?
When they first signed Van Halen. So they wanted to put Sammy Hagar in. Then they knew who he was, but they had never met or anything, you know. And isn't that funny? But they struggled. They worked. They struggled. They worked. They struggled. They worked. They keep working. They have all the, you know, the in the first episode prior to this, my episode prior to this, in the first 5, we talked about, Sheryl Crow. Mm-hmm. Did that whole, you know, she was touring for years and years with Michael Jackson as a background singer, and all these people just cutting her teeth, right? And then she did that record, and that record you never heard her first record, and you never will, you know? And then she got sued by the record label, and then her friends came together and they recorded this record and made it happen. And, you know, it all's well that ends well, but it got ugly. It got real ugly. Like, guess what? You owe us $1 million and we're coming after you. Okay? Because screw you. You don't just get to tap into our, you know, we took this chance on you. You don't just get to say, sorry, the record's done. I don't like it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is exactly what you did, you know? So there's no overnight success. Don't be naive. Don't give up. It takes a long time, you know? It takes a long time. Number 8. I think you're going to resonate with this, Brent.
Uh-oh.
You're just a few tweaks away.
Few twerks away? What?
Tweaks.
Oh, tweaks. Yes, I do resonate with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, just sometimes a few tweaks and adjustments to a plan are all that it takes to make a giant leap forward. You know? I bet you got a story. You know, of a song, of a lyric, of a, you know, that just needed. Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing. Like, ideas that I can look at songs that have been successful of mine that you're like, oh, I'm really glad we made this little tweak. Because, you know, you don't know what it would have been otherwise. You know, I think of, so just as a song, I was writing a song called When Your Lips Are So Close with Gord Bamford and Byron Hill. Gord's a big artist up in Canada.
Number 1 in Canada, number 1 in Ireland.
That's right. It went number 1. But when we were writing it, you know, it wasn't a number 1 yet. It wasn't even finished. And we were looking at little tweaks to make to this song. It's like, and one thing, if you've heard the song, it's a sexy romantic love song. But that was a decision. At one point, we were like, okay, he's talking about, you know, girl, I feel so far away, even though your lips are so close. Like, I want to hold you right now. You know, it's killing me to be so far away when your lips are so close. You know, I want to kiss you right now. It's like, do we make them where they're already a couple, or where it's an unrequited love thing, or he's just crushing on her, or all this stuff? Little shades of meaning. But we made it where they are a couple, you know, and he just can't make out with her in the middle of a, you know, Christmas party or whatever.
I love that.
You know,
yeah.
And so it's a little tweak from I just love you, or I just think you're sexy as all get out, because it became a stalker. It became just more of a positive vibe, and it worked more with what Gord's brand is and what he wants to say. And like little tweaks like that, I think made a difference. And actually, it's funny. I got a Facebook message from Byron, our co-writer and Gord's producer on that record, that they released a list of like the top 10 most, I guess, streamed songs in Canada, country songs in Canada ever. And we're at number 9. So
I love that.
Yes.
Congratulations, man.
That was cool. I just found that out just about 2 hours ago, and it's number 9 of the most streamed songs like of all time of Canadian country artists. So I was like, cool, it did well. So I think those little tweaks, you know,
they work, man. You know, and you've got to learn from the failure, right? And you've got to continue to tweak, and you just can't get frustrated. I mean, you can get frustrated, obviously, you feel that way, but then you've got to channel that into forward motion. I mean, you know, over the course of my band's first tour, the first tour we did, we got, I mean, this booking agency was like, we're going to put you on tour. I'm like, you mean we don't have to have jobs? They're like, yeah. And you're going to go out on the road, and we're going to bring a truck, and you're going to carry production and lights and have a road crew. And we're like, sign me up,
right,
like, yes.
Living the dream.
And that first tour, man, we went out and we made the equivalent of what is probably pretty darn close to $350,000 the first year in today's money, and all the dust settled, and we owed $8,000. And I was just so, I was just like, what? I was just, like, what happened? Like, so a few tweaks. And when we connected with the Allman Brothers and we moved down to Florida, we grossed half as much money a year. But because of the few tweaks that I made, and I learned from the failures before, we made a living. I mean, like a living, we moved out of the ghetto apartment into like the really nice brand new apartments where we actually had a separate room just for the office and all the gear. So we weren't sleeping on top of our gear,
Right.
And which is what happened the first year, and we learned how to do that, man. So you get a clearer understanding of the game with your failure. Our second tour experience had us making a living on half the gross revenue. Don't give up. I failed first, learned, got better, and you can too. You're going to fail. So embrace it. Figure out how to make it better. Number 9. You can change the industry forever.
Ooh.
The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow, so don't give up.
So wait,
right?
that sounds tweetable. Say that again.
The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. Don't give up.
There you go.
Let's talk about making a dent. Now, you can love them, you can hate them, but you can't deny the impact that they had on the industry, Florida Georgia Line. Now, this story is so great on so many levels, and I love this story. We talk about it a lot, but they had the best writers in town. I mean, Craig Wiseman,
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, and not only is he a brilliant songwriter, but he might be even a better businessman. I mean, he's super, super smart, and killer producer, Joey Moy,
yes,
platinum producer, and those guys got every freaking. They wrote the EP, which had Cruise on it, okay, which is a knockdown, drag out, smash hit song, like probably one of the biggest hits we've had in a long time.
Right, yeah.
And all the record labels with Cruise, they got every meeting they wanted because Craig Wiseman was calling and Joey Moy produced it. Oh, bring that on over. Let's see what you got. Everybody said no. I said, no, Florida Georgia Line is too different.
Right. I don't get it.
They said no. Failure right there. Nope. Failure. No failure. No, another failure. Well, wait, Craig Wiseman wrote this song and we got Joey Moy and everybody should say yes. Right. No, it was different. It was too different. Right? It was the beginning of bro country. A lot of people think the beginning of the end of country music, but think what you want. They went to satellite radio and got Cruise on the highway and just got it heard, and it became a smash. But they, by the way, risked a lot of their money going out to tour to support that single because they didn't get it from anywhere else but themselves.
So like 100,000 downloads on like iTunes.
Yeah, in like 8 months.
Before they had the record deal, I think.
Before they had their record deal. And then guess what? Everybody said yes.
Music sounded a lot better.
Genius. Those other guys said no when we were in that meeting. I knew all along you guys were great.
Yes.
So I want you to sign with us because.
All right. I heard about the Garth Brooks story. Of course, he got passed by every label in town, and then he got some people. Bob Doyle, his manager, got some people out to see him at the Bluebird, to see him live, even though it was an intimate show. See him live. And the guy from Capitol, who had passed on it, came up to Bob later and was like, where did we leave that whole Garth thing? And Bob, being smart, not going to make the other guy wrong, said, I don't think you'd really gotten back to us yet. It was still kind of up in the air. He's like, okay, good, let's talk some more. Even though he'd already passed.
Politics right there, right? Yeah. Real smart. Yeah. Don't take this chance to win. Just be like, well, you just hadn't gotten back to us.
Hadn't really gotten back to us. Still kind of okay.
In that whole Florida Georgia Line thing, the record didn't change, the production didn't change, the songs didn't change, the band didn't change, the sound didn't change. The only thing that changed is the perception. because they did a lot more work.
They started proving
and
the
they
concept.
didn't give up. So don't give up.
Right.
You know? And number 10.
Number 10.
The final one, and maybe the most important.
Oh.
Let the haters hate.
Let the haters hate.
Let the haters hate, man. Because I'll tell you what, like, the more you succeed, the more haters you're going to have. Mm-hmm. I tell this to all my artists, especially, by the way, if they come from a small town. I came from Delavan, Wisconsin, 5,000 people. My graduating class was 189 people, right?
Mine was smaller.
I believe that. Well, it's Arkansas.
There you go. Yeah.
It's Arkansas. But, when that first tour I talked about where we lost money, we were gone for a year, and we were bigger than we've ever been when we came back. And we were $8,000 in the hole. I couldn't have been more depressed.
Right.
But we were friggin' rock stars in our county. You know what I mean? Because all the talking and everything like that and da-da-da. And so with that, we had a lot of people that thought we were, multi-millionaire rock stars because that's small town mentality thinking.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a lot of people that hated us. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people that, guys trying to work in on our girlfriends saying, you guys are just star effers and, cutting down our girlfriends and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, star effers? What star? Who's a star? I owe $8,000 to ride a truck right now. I'm so like, I don't feel like a star. Like I feel like an idiot right now.
You're big enough that you have haters, but you're not so big that you can hire hitmen to take care of them.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. So you know what? Like I remember our manager Barbara Strauss when we went down to Florida, and she managed a major label artist named C.L.I.M.B, and like a mentor to me, like one of my favorite people on the planet. She changed my life forever. Because it got weird down there. Like when we got down there, we were getting press and doing all this stuff and getting some spins, and people were saying stuff about us in the press, and people were. And this is before social media,
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to get the message back to the band, but it was coming back to us. And I was like, why are people saying that? And she was just like, man, you know what? If there are people out there that are hating on you, the more haters, it means you're doing something right.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming you're not a douchebag, right?
Right.
And assuming you're not coming from a bad place, then that means you're doing something right. You can't take it. You can't take it negatively.
Yeah.
You just got to let it rock. I mean, don't give up.
My buddy Anthony Oreo, mutual friend, we wrote a song about that. It's called, Haters Gonna Hate, but Lovers Gonna Love It. That's
right. That's right, man. And I mean, think about it. Taylor Swift got just as many haters as she's got lovers, right? People that love her. One of the greatest lines ever, and this is a factual excerpt, but in the Howard Stern movie, they talked about Howard Stern, and a lot of people don't understand. Like, he got really, really popular in D.C., right? And so he was crushing it doing his stuff. And New York, NBC New York, hired him without ever hearing the show and gave him this Mac Daddy contract because he was crushing their show. He was crushing the New York DJ's ratings in the same time slot. So they just hired him sight unseen. They didn't know how foul
how
he
Howard
was.
he is. Yeah.
Yeah, how Howard he was. And so once they had him bound in the contract and they didn't know what the hell to do, they're trying to, all of a sudden, the upper brass is like, who the hell is this guy? And they're like, that's the guy we hired. Like, did you guys listen to this freaking show? And they're pissed off. They're pissed. Middle management's getting fired. People are literally getting fired by the droves because they're locked into a contract with this. Now, think about that. You're number one in D.C. You've got it going on, and the biggest flagship station in the biggest market in the country gives you the biggest contract they've ever given, and they hate you. Think about how that feels. You're like, what the hell just happened, right? Just from that perspective. But they did a survey. 50% of all the, what's the number one reason the people who hate Howard Stern the most listen to Howard Stern? Because they want to see what he's going to say next.
Yeah.
Right? Number one reason people listen to Howard Stern, who love Howard Stern, they want to hear what he's going to say next.
Right.
I mean, it's you're going to have haters. And if you're not, if you really don't, you're not doing anything. Yeah, you're not doing anything right.
You'll have haters if you're lucky.
They're trophies, man. They're trophies. Let the haters be your trophies, So when that's, dude, I'm coming in good here. This is like one of the shortest episodes I've ever done.
No, don't tell Johnny.
But that brings us to another end episode of The Climb.
Wait. Do you have some stuff you want to talk about here at the end? Some little
two
gifts?
things again. Yes, I do. As always, the I wrote a best-selling book on Amazon.
I got to bring that up again. Well, bestseller.
I give it away for free, and it still sells. Like it's funny. I guess people, whatever they maybe they don't hear. Maybe they find it on Amazon. I guess
it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's a blessing. But you can get it for free just for listening to the podcast. Go to giftfromjohnny.com if you don't have it already. That's JOHNNY, giftfromjohnny.com. And just hit yes button and we'll tell me where to send it. We'll get it right to you. It demystifies Twitter. It's a tour through the app. It'll really kind of tell you exactly what you need to target an audience, reach out and connect with them, and get 1,000 targeted new followers that are really going to like what you're doing every single month, and it only requires about 15 minutes of your time a day.
Nice.
That's not too bad, right?
Not bad at all.
And then the second thing, this is not free, but sometimes you're in a position where you got some stuff going on, you just need some direction, and maybe you're not in a position where you got the cash flow to come on board with Daredevil or something like that, but you could use some help and somebody to give you the right questions to ask. We'll do some consulting work for you. Get in touch with us at info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. That's right. There's no S. Right. info@daredevilproduction.com. And I'll look over all your social media, your web store if you've got one, your website, and just take a look and assess at everything you're doing and tell you, hey, man, if you were a Daredevil artist, this is what I'd do with you. And you'd be amazed at what we can accomplish in 1 hour. So hit us up on the on email there if that sounds like something that you could do to get some guidance, and we'll be happy to share that with you and give you all of our energy.
Awesome.
There you go. So that brings us to another episode of The Climb. Y'all, man, remember, 10 reasons. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just keep going. Keep climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.